We are back. We made it through a great Thanksgiving holiday. Today we're talking about Automotive News All-Stars. VinFast shipping almost 1,000 vehicles to the U.S. and Black Friday hit home. Black Friday, man. I got Black Friday story for you.
Oh boy, I'm excited about it.
It's a good one. We'll save that. Man, how'd you do over the weekend? Long weekend.
I did good. I ate some food, not too much. Went on a couple good runs, watched some soccer. USA tied England, which was impressive. And yeah, it's good. Iran beat Wales, which is even more impressive. Let's just roll that. Throw that out. Well, everybody in automotive is like, what's this guy talking about?
Yeah.
We talking about cars. Iran doesn't make autos.
Right. Well, I ate way too much. I didn't run at all. Oh. And I also watched at least one full half of a soccer match, which is a first for me. And I had fun. I told like I'm maturing in my I feel like you have to mature.
Guys.
I'm growing up. Not all growing up, but thanks to Ted Lasso, I knew about the pitch and the boots and the all the things, some of the things. I knew what the +6 was at the end of the match.
Like the U.S. education of soccer comes down to Ted Lasso. Welcome to America.
Well, that's just welcome to pop culture.
Right.
Oh man, I want to talk. We'll talk about that some other time.
All right,
so I don't know. I watched the Eagles game last night and I had to stay up late because Eagles Packers was a shootout and it was a fun game to watch, but I was annoyed because I had to stay up till the end. But dude, the GM EV commercials were non-stop. I could not believe it.
It was nuts.
Yeah. Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Dude, I could not believe it. In the one Sunday night football game, I must have seen, I'm going to say 10, all featuring different models. I think the last one I saw was actually for the Bolt. So they kind of like did all these, they did the pickups and the SUVs and the forward thinking. And they ended with the one that's the most likely to be like mass available and the most affordable. I thought it was pretty cool to watch.
How about though, this is what's real clutch from GM is like, hey, partnership with Domino's. Watch Domino's put on a GM commercial.
Jeez.
Did you see that one?
No.
Yo, Domino's legit just goes like, they basically, everybody rolls in these like minivans and you see all of the cars that would typically be, a little bit older, a little bit run down from a delivery driver. And then
Domino's whips in.
They hit a lightning bolt onto the car, change it into a
I'm
Chevy
down with
Bolt.
that.
And then at the end, it's like 3 Chevy Bolts lined up and like proud delivery workers. And it's like a Domino's commercial.
That's a recruiting campaign right there.
But serious recruiting campaign.
Heck yeah.
It was everything. And GM just gets the whoop. There you go. Very, very good.
Man, I love all that. I love all that. Well, we're getting fired back up this morning. I woke up this morning like, all right, time to go start building the show. And within like 30 minutes, I was like all fired up. Like, oh man, we got 5 weeks left. That's it in 2022. So we're going to put the pedal down. We got some new podcasts launching today in the dirt from Auto Retail Conference. This is such a great one, Kyle. You interviewed 2 young ladies from Bozard, and it was just like new faces, new voices, same fire, which is what I love.
If you caught the podcast, the Automotive Trouble Market podcast on Friday, you caught Megan, you caught a clip of her, but the whole 15-minute-ish podcast with Morgan and Grace is available now on In the Dirt. You want to check it out. It's
also launching an Auto Collabs podcast today. Auto Collabs with we're going to use this as a segue into our first story. Featuring the CEO of UVI, Amir, who was awarded UVI was awarded the Automotive News All-Stars. Amir was. So speaking of Automotive News All-Stars. All right.
Segue.
That's the first time I think we've ever pre-segued a segue.
I know. Pre-segue a segue. Did Smithy say, Kyle, when you're writing something, you tell them what they're going to say, what you're going to say, you say it, and you just tell them what you said. So we need an outro too for this segue. Well, the annual list of Automotive News All-Stars was announced. This is where 40 individuals from across OEMs, dealers, industry partners are kind of just celebrated for some achievement or some notable accomplishment this year. From the article, they say our All-Stars persevered during delivering excellent products and services to their customers, introducing innovations that are key to the future of mobility, and making other significant contributions to the industry in a myriad of ways. We note a couple of them here. Elon Musk was on the list this year for being an early adopter of EVs, had nothing to do with Twitter, early adopter of EVs. dominating or leading the U.S. luxury segment and turning Tesla's Fremont, California factory, which is their original factory, into the highest producing factory in the U.S., pumping out over 500,000 vehicles. I did not know that. Also included in the list is a really close friend of ours, close friend of Asodu. We were up in his Subaru store. Greg Sioka Sr., of the Sioka dealers, founder of Sioka Group in Philadelphia, greater Philadelphia area, pushing forward this year with 8+ acquisitions. He stated plans to double his store count to 50, from 25 to 50. And last year, when he was announced as being number 83 on Automotive News Top 150 dealers, he had reported revenue of 1.1 billion in 2022. So 1 year later, he's at like 2 billion.
Also, I have it on really, really strong authority because I was standing there when he said it to me that he's now officially announced that he's going to go from 50 to 100. So watch out, everybody. Watch out.
Yeah, he is a juggernaut.
And let me tell you, the dichotomy of difference in personalities between Elon Musk and Greg Sioka Jr. on the Automotive News All-Stars is absolutely sublime.
Yeah.
Sublime. Sorry, senior.
Yeah.
It's sublime.
Oh man, can you imagine just sitting with those two? Mr. Sioka is so Philly. He will just tell it like it is all day long. But he's got that smile, and you kind of like, even if he tells you like the truth that hurts a little bit, you're like, yeah, he's kind of right.
Yes, exactly.
Also, today's we just mentioned our Auto Collabs guest, CEO of tech startup UVI, 37-year-old Amir. I don't know if it's Hever or Hever, Hever. He basically transitioned the vehicle image scanning company that originally started to detect bombs underneath vehicles at like embassies and stuff, into now kind of like a staple
Homeland
in the
security
service department.
to automotive.
We talk about it in the podcast today. It's an amazing story. But now he got the award for like bringing this technology into service drives that scans the vehicle when it comes in and can detect like tire wear, oil leaks, all kinds of things that could be wrong. So now service advisors can suggest relevant and necessary service, right? So it's a win for everybody. Talk about revolutionizing the industry. It has a lot of OEM partnerships, auction partnerships. Like those guys are just getting started. And finally, last one I'll mention, and then we can just jam on it for a minute. Joe Manchin, West Virginia senator, got on the list for basically aggressively and successfully pushing to bring EV related manufacturing back to the US. He was not willing. He was the kind of the holdout on the Democratic Party and said, no, I'm not going to approve this. Don't tell me that we can't get manufacturing back in the US. Don't tell me we can't be more energy reliant. And so for all those factories going up there, Auto News is like, Joe Manchin gets a spot on this list. A pretty fun list.
Deservedly so, because with the acceleration of everything happening in Asia and the changes in the EV market there, and being able to bring manufacturing to the US. And we've already seen in the first like couple months since that happening, new plants either being announced or broken ground on. Big deal.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, speaking of new EV entrants breaking ground in the United States of America.
Stop. Segue.
That's good. I like the swing for the fences. This is a good one. New Vietnamese EV maker VinFast. We've talked about them before. They just shipped their first batch of vehicles to the U.S. on a company-owned ship. The ship is awesome. It just says it's like this big barge. It says VinFast. Yeah. And so they shipped 999 vehicles. Apparently, that is the luckiest number in Vietnamese culture. So the ship actually can hold 2,000. They said 999, and they're going to be the first deliveries to customers who had pre-ordered. Also, some of them will be delivered to EV subscription startup Autonomy, as you know, may know, founded by Scott Painter, also founder of a little company called TrueCar and a little company called Fair. According to the company's female CEO, oh boy, Lei Thi Toi. I actually looked up the pronunciation to try to do it some respect, get it some honor. The second shipment, and I even know what the toy means, water. No, wow. I know this. I did research. Okay. This early Monday. The second shipment of their VF8 crossover could be as early as January. Interestingly enough, it's a $42,000 midsize crossover. If you don't want the battery. Yeah. But if you want the battery, it's $57,000. But also, this company's pioneering a battery subscription.
This is the money.
Buy the car, rent the battery. So you don't have to worry about the battery. You don't have to worry about battery life. It's on the company to maintain properly functioning battery. So I think it's a pretty interesting play.
I mean, for $169 a month.
Yep,
Like,
for
think
the
about
standard.
what you pay for a phone, and now you get a full battery in a car. Like,
That's a good one.
okay, I get it. I understand. I'll take it.
That
Not
is
a big
pretty
problem. Yeah.
very interesting. I mean, to circle back to the beginning of the story, like the company is not manufacturing anything in the US. They actually said the Inflation Reduction Act credits and all that surprised them. However, they were already moving to build a plant in North Carolina, slated to open in 2024. They're about 5 months behind on their plans, but they're moving forward. The battery subscription, right? Like we've talked about this before, having the battery being the critical and the kind of elusive material. When you're leasing a battery, you know, who owns it? The manufacturer owns it.
Like the long time range anxiety of like a decreased range based on
Right.
battery half-life is that getting rid of that for me is an accelerant to a purchase process. Like quicker leasing or even purchase, because now I don't have to worry. Like now I can purchase because now I don't have to worry about the battery. I think that that's a big deal. I also think that like recognizing that if we're building the technology inside the vehicle to house like software updates and the ability to continually flex based on what battery we have in it and the capacity of that battery, you have like the perfect marriage. Now, I was actually reading something over the weekend where the lines of code of a vehicle setup for any sort of autonomous driving will have over 9 times the amount of lines of code of a typical iPhone. So the difference between like 40 to 60 million lines of code to 800 million lines of code.
Wow. Almost we're approaching 1 billion lines of code.
Isn't that nuts?
That is unbelievable.
So yeah, figure out the battery. You take care of that. I'll just keep driving. Sound good?
Well, yeah. I mean, part of that is the financing. Like, what's the depreciation curve on a battery versus the vehicle? It'll be interesting to see how it might be easier to finance the vehicle without the battery, right? Knowing, but then again, like, is the vehicle useless if what happens if you don't pay your battery subscription?
Your credit card associated with that is out for a month.
It expired.
Or something like that. You're like, that credit card.
Like vehicle will stop, battery will stop, stop delivering charge in 3, 2, 1. A lot. It's a brave new world. But it's just an interesting development, and we'll see how it goes. I love it when people try new things that actually make some sense. Right? They're not just throwing it against the wall. It's like it actually makes some sense. So it'll be fun to see how this new player pans out, how the American market responds to it. And I think that there's a big opportunity for VinFast to partner with some, US dealers to help service and maintain these vehicles. Oh boy, do I have a Tesla service story that's not in the show that I can't talk. No, we're going to talk about Tesla service. We'll talk about it later this week. Stay tuned to the podcast.
Talk about later this week.
I have to formulate the thoughts better.
It's like the third one this week.
Yeah, oh, they're coming. It's just, hey, we were off for a few days.
Hey, I feel you. I threw in my interjection story. I was like,
yeah, the world didn't stop moving. We're only at 13 minutes though. We're still doing good. We're doing good. All right. I don't know. How do we segue into Black Friday?
We have to talk about Black Friday.
Of course we do.
Stop.
Segue.
You have to hit the segue button. So Black Friday sees both increased foot traffic is up 2.9% this year in physical stores, as well as record online sales, all-time record at 9.1 billion. This is in spite of consumers' stated concerns about the economy. Surveys are showing that 60+% of Americans actually said they're concerned about the economy affected their spending decisions on Black Friday, yet spending is still up. The previous record was 9.12 billion in 2020. It dipped down a little bit to 8.9 billion in 2021, and now it's back up above the 2020 high. Some of that could be because of inflation, but according to Adobe Analytics, electronic sales alone were up 221% over an average October day, with the top sellers being, get ready for a surprise, Apple products, right? Drones.
Oh, Xbox.
Xbox Series X and games like FIFA 23 is probably going to have a really great year, right?
Oh,
Talk
absolutely.
About the holidays and the World Cup and all that just coming. Also some Pokemon paraphernalia. Now, I was out. I didn't go out on Black Friday, but we did go to the mall as a family. The Daly family has not gone to the mall to like shop and have something in a long time.
And you went on Black Friday?
No. We went on Saturday. We went on Saturday.
No.
we have standards, Kyle. No, I was recovering on Friday. We went on Saturday, and I have to say, it was the first time the mall felt Christmassy in a really, really, really long time.
Really?
Yeah.
You know what was really surreal? So speaking of malls, I was in Ohio, Cincinnati, where my wife and my family both live. And like the mall growing up, living there, middle school, high school, was Tri-County Mall. And we went to a movie over near there. Literally this massive, I mean, ginormous mall that you used to not even be able to get in and out of starting November 1st is shut down, all except for one large restaurant. How ridiculous. The dichotomy of like foot traffic up, but malls didn't make it, and blah, blah, blah.
That one didn't make it. It's almost like if they made it. Around here in the Syracuse area, we have 3. We only have 1 now. The nicest, biggest one that has all kinds of, but there's just so much entertainment in the mall. Right?
Yes.
Another big difference.
Yep.
A big part of the mall is like restaurants and like Dave & Buster's and, Get Air, the trampoline park.
That's what all the Nashville malls are. They're all centered around entertainment or having some sort of like movie theater attached to it, right? So there's kind of like that foot traffic. So I will say, the inflation is up 8%. We're only up 2.9% or 2.
Do the math, carry the one.
Do the math, carry the one. It's not perfect, but just the increased foot traffic. Every single dealer that I'm seeing posting or text messages that I've got over the weekend is like Black Friday and Saturday were good days. So I'm pumped going into December. I think December in automotive could be a really, really big month.
Big winner.
So
I'm hopeful for a big winner.
Hopeful.
I am too. Hey, speaking of a big winner, I'm not going to hit the trend, but as we kind of ramp out today, year-end extravaganza is happening. We will have more details now that we're coming in. Definitely on Tuesday, December 20. Is it 21st? 20th, December 20th. Mark your calendar right now. Open your calendar app. December 20th, Tuesday. Be like year-end extravaganza. What's it going to be? 2 p.m.
2 p.m.
Eastern?
1 Central.
2 to 4 Eastern. Put on your calendar now so you remember, so you can be there. We got a lot of work to do today. We have a lot of news to catch up on, but we'll be ready for you. So whatever you're doing today, lean back in, shake off the Thanksgiving turkey, whatever. We got 5 weeks left in 2022.
Right.